Welcome again to another conversation, another interview about Warhammer 40k, obviously. But we are now post second round game of Fred Otto piloting his Harlequins and Adrew over here piloting his Imperial Knights. Let's find out how the game went. So, Fred, I'll start with you. Is that a matchup that you are used to? Have you played that a lot, or was that one of the first times?
I played it a lot with Drukharic on WT terrain and not this terrain, and I don't like it on this terrain. It's like the three middle objectives are all in the open, and Adrew went first, so I was very nervous in the first round, but I managed to squeeze out a win. Sorry.
Okay, so I mean, what was the score? How did the game finish?
Actually, in the end, 99 to 55.
Yeah. Okay, all right, Adrew, and again, a question to you. Is this a matchup that you were prepared for? Is this something that you've, trialed and tested before, or was this maybe the first time playing Harlequins?
No, so it's one I haven't prepared for. I've had a little bit of time out of the game because I've recently become a dad, actually.
Congratulations.
And so this is one of my early tournaments back. But I haven't had much experience of this particular matchup.
Right.
And actually probably didn't appreciate quite how strong the move block was.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't commit hard enough in the first turn. I was a little bit cautious, nervous of the amount of fusion coming in. Yeah, and actually should have been the other way around. I think playing, it was a fantastic education. Actually, the game was played in a really great way. Lots of intent, but actually lots of learning as well from my perspective.
Absolutely.
In terms of understanding that matchup and having more confidence going into that matchup again.
Did you realize who you were playing? Because Fred is from the national team of Germany and one of the top players. I mean,
top players,
say
one of the top teams. They had a fantastic
Right.
WTC.
Exactly.
And it's been great hearing on various podcasts recently about the success of the German team. So it was, again, I think one of the reasons you come to events like this is to get the opportunity to learn from the best players. Somebody said to me on the way over, said, because I got move blocked. I was so frustrated. I was like, no, it was fantastic to see somebody making the maximum using combat. It was just fantastic to see someone play that way. So from my perspective, it's always a learning game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was great to be able to take a lot away from that, knowing now
that's important.
That I would go into that matchup a bit differently and hopefully give him a bit more challenge next time.
Right, because Fred is also a coach. So Fred, a question. This matchup, you are probably used to it on WTC terrain, and this is where the idea of move blocking comes from, because there it's even easier to move block them, right? So have you played that at the WTC, for example?
Yeah, you can. I mean, the corridors are similar, but usually in WTC you can always hide in some objectives. So here were the side objectives, as I said, were really open. And Adrew, he went first, and he had I could really tell he has a great plan for what to do in the first turn. You have this 2x bondsman for the knights, putting -1 damage, and what was the other thing? 4-up invul on them. And then he also puts a third one, so it's all three objectives in the middle.
Yeah, and they all spread your fusion.
They're super defensive. My damage 2 does almost nothing. I can't really charge them. He has fight on death. It's really hard to actually engage that. But I think where this strategy works a lot against maybe armies that are not that fast, and then people they try to get this units that are out, and they somehow grind themselves down. They cannot really do the damage they want to do, because suddenly these models are 50% or even more durable. But that's how much did I kill? 1 or 2? I think I killed one.
I killed one in the first turn.
With close combat and everything combined, and the other one wounded and so on. So actually, I didn't do much damage. But he stayed back with the rest of the army, which was more vulnerable to my other shooting. But it was completely, move block. So I put 2 jet bikes in front of the one entrance, basically, to his base, whatever it's called. And what was the other? Some Star Weaver or whatever. Yeah. And then from then on, I think maybe once or twice some army guy went out, could somehow get out, but otherwise couldn't leave. And because we are playing the whole 2, all the middle objectives are the important ones. And with some psychic powers, I could also hold the one in the open. And actually, I'm really happy I brought this. Fog of Dreams, a really nice Harlequin psychic power you can use to make one unit unshootable. So if you really push on, then on this terrain you can still hold this objective which is out in the open. Because I looked at the terrain and said, okay, usually you could hide something here, and wow, I really need to bring Fog of Dreams. So otherwise he just shoots us off, and we will even on primary. And this way I really, I'm overmaxed it.
Okay, Andrew, a question to you, because we never really mentioned what your list consists of. So could we quickly summarize what your list has in it, and then after this game, for example, have you already gone through the thinking process, maybe I should change this or that?
So I'm running a Paladin,
right.
my Paladin, with 6 Armiger Warglaves and 4 Armiger Helverins. There are some minor changes I'd make to it, but I think that you're flexing tiny changes around that. But I think the 6-4-1 is. There's another guy, Sid, who's playing a 13 Armiger list, which I think would be interesting to try. But because you sort of offset the -1 damage against the extra 36 wounds of Armiger.
Yeah.
So it'd be an interesting experience to play with that. With the extra, I mean, there's a lot more Helverins generally in that build because you reinforcing the shooting. Because the Paladin feels a bit like a tax. But it's such a great result. So you get so much for that tax in terms of the -1 damage, the 4-up in run that goes out on there, his ability to get 5 points from the knight-specific secondary. When he does an action in the centre, he does 5, and also can become more honoured if he does the action. So there's, I think as a list, we're seeing it. England used it to great success with Alex at the WTC.
That's what I thought.
So it's clearly a great list, and on this occasion, I didn't use it as well as I should have done. But
right.
You live and learn, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. That's something that is important about events like that. That you can come to them, you can experience other players, armies that you don't usually play maybe, and then draw conclusions from them. So it's great that you've come to that conclusion as well. Listen, guys, I'll wrap the episode now. The interview. I'm just so used to my podcast and mentioning episodes. I'll wrap up the interview, but I wish you both still a lot of fun and good luck, because there's still plenty of games ahead of you. So I hope that only wins, and I'll get to speak to you today, tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope to see you in the finals.
Exactly. So thank you.